I like your introduction. It's getting more and more efficient, and you're doing more emphatic type stuff.
Yeah, dude. Well, bro, you know this, and I say it every morning on the Daily Hustle. If you're juiceful, you're useful. If you're juiceless, you're fucking useless.
Boom, there you go. There
Right?
you go. Hey, since we actually got a new person or two in the chat room. I was actually messing with them a minute ago, and we got a cast of characters that have been there. So you and I are sporting the autism shirts for this year. The autism game is actually this Friday coming up against the Boston Red Sox. And turn around, show everybody the back, what the back is. So what they did was they took the 22 and they put the autism puzzle pieces on there. So this is a throwback. This was the first shirt that the Giants gave away at Autism Night 15 years ago. And for doing the 15th anniversary, they went back to the shirt again and they just changed the number and put the puzzle pieces. So I think they did a good job. What do you think?
I think they did a fantastic job. This is one of my favorite shirts. I can't get past. It's the eye black that gets me, dude. It's
Yeah.
so
So that right there, that picture right there was part of the "You Gotta Love These Kids" promotion back in the '80s. It was me, Robbie Thompson, and Matt Williams, all those guys, and they did "You Gotta Love These Kids." And I don't know whether that was '86, '87, whatever it was, but that picture right there that's on our shirts was the one that they used for that promotion, and it was the eye black and all that, and it was cool back then. So
now, Thrill. Obviously, you have a son that's autistic. Trey is a great friend of the program. Talk to us about say your experience, and then also obviously how this came together and the impact that the Autism Awareness Night has been able to make over the past 15 years.
yeah, so it was pretty neat. I had, when I first got with the Giants, I started doing ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and I wanted something that was, baseball related. I was a huge fan of Lou Gehrig, and so I took that on as my cause. As a matter of fact, when I won the '89 NLCS MVP, I got a van or something like that, and I actually donated it to United Way in the name of ALS. So, that was kind of my I guess you want to say my cause back then. Well, then we had, like you said, we had Trey, and then my cause has shifted, and the Giants have really jumped on board. At first, they started doing Autism Night like during the week, and you'd get a packed crowd, but I mean, it wasn't like on a weekend. And then they shifted it to Fridays and Saturday nights, and it really has come on. And it's always a packed house. We got a lot of enthusiasm. I do a Triples Alley appearance before the game during bat practice, and so it's really a good deal.
So I got some specifics about it. The Autism Awareness Night, they have a just normal. It says, like, with the help of Giants legend Will Clark, the Giants are proud to host the 15th annual Autism Awareness Night to raise awareness about this development disorder that affects more children than childhood cancer, juvenile diabetes, and pediatric AIDS combined. Each special event ticket includes an exclusive Will Clark inspired t-shirt. Partial proceeds will benefit nonprofits in the autism community. Game tickets Friday, July 28th versus Boston Red Sox. Get your seats early for a special pregame home plate ceremony with Will. But wait, there's more, because Autism Awareness Night VIP experience, Will Clark VIP signed mini bat, a Will Clark inspired t-shirt, an exclusive Will Clark autographed mini bat, access to the Triples Alley pregame VIP event space, an outfield warning track during batting practice, complimentary food and beverage, including beer and wine during the pregame event. Will Clark will be in attendance and joining the Triples Alley Q&A panel for this one-of-a-kind night. Game tickets Friday, July 28th versus the Boston Red Sox. Sincerely, your friends with the San Francisco Giants. Thank you for the Giants for getting us those.
No, man. I told you we were going to reach out to them. We're going to get it. Thank you for supporting everything. Thank you for supporting the cause. And everybody that's in the audience here, if you can make it out there, we'd love to have you. Another thing too is this is every year we do this. Like I said, this hat, believe it or not, was one of the autism giveaways. They made the Clark 22, and then I signed it, and then then on the bottom of it is a pic. Let me see if I can get it right side up. Which way is it? Yep, that way. So that is a picture of a swing from a home run in Chicago Wrigley, and that picture on the bottom of the hat came from this picture.
No way.
Yep, that is ball. Let me see if I can get that light out of there. Ball is on the bat and head down, balance all the way through. Home run, baby, home run.
Head behind the baseball. You could see almost this natural scissor action happening where you're creating extra torque with your midsection. You could not have pieced that ball any better. I mean, that's a sweet spot as sweet gets right there.
You know what? That right there was it was kind of funny how all of that came around, believe it or not. Sports Illustrated wanted me to be on one of the covers, and they said they were going to, come out to some games and shoot pictures and all that. And they said, hey, do you want anything in particular? I said, you know what? I've never had a swing with like the ball on the back. I said, if you could get it, I'd love it. And that photographer right there for Sports Illustrated, believe it or not, went out there. He was in right field or right center. He was in the stands, and he took that picture, caught the ball on the bat, and it happened to be a homer. It's just a weird type of deal.
That's crazy, man. So of all the pictures that you've ever had that you have yourself, I mean, obviously, whether it's baseball cards or pictures hanging around the house, is there one specific throughout the course of your career that you look back to and I don't know, call it your favorite one or one of your favorite ones?
I mean, I got a few of them that I really like. That right there is probably the best as far as, having the ball on the bat and all that. And then this one right here, I'll show you this one real quick. Hang on one sec. This one right here is kind of the iconic, kind of Will Clark swing. So that one, I use that one a lot. I signed that one a bunch. And then this one here, you and I talked about that. That's the first home run off of Nolan. Yep. And so that's one of my favorites too, just because it, what it recommends or what it represents.
Yeah. Hey, so the Giants, dude, they've been sucking ass. There's no other way to put it. I've been really, really horseshit the last however many games. What's going on? I mean, offense has just disappeared. What's happened?
You know what? It comes and goes, as you well know. And, if you look at the Giants right now and you have to kind of, break their season down. For me personally, it's kind of been what I would call streaky. They had a rough go of it early on, and they got hot, and they got back in the middle of the pack, and then they played about 500 ball for a little while. They got hot again. They got jumped right back into, a game out of first place or whatever it was. And then since the All-Star break, they won the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They won the first 5, even though in 2 of those games they only scored 3 runs or less. And then since then they've lost, 6 in a row, and they've got out of the 6 losses, they got one game where they scored 3 runs, one where they scored 2, and the other 4 they scored 1 run. So the offense is scuffling a little bit right now. And when you have an offense that scuffles every now and then, your pitching has to step up, and we've just been giving up a few too many crooked numbers up there.
Isn't it crazy how this game works, though?
You know what? I tell everybody, and because you've been around the game for so long and talked about it for so long, but that's why you play 162 games. That's why you play the marathon, is because every team goes through these ups and downs, and look at like that, what was it, that COVID season or whatever it was, where it was 60 games. Dude, it was just whoever got hot from the get-go, boom, that was it, But that's not how a major league season, works. And you can see it by looking at the scores and the roster, and then, how it goes up and goes down, and which team is doing well, even though they don't have any injuries, and this team is doing okay, but got a ton of injuries, so, kind of that kind of thing.
Dude, so I got something else sent to me, and I just busted it out. And it's from Sons of Johnny LeMaster. Do you know this guy, or have you seen
Sons of Johnny LeMaster?
Bro, so they do these pins. Like,
oh,
yeah.
Dude, is that the Candlestick pins, and it says Veni Vidi Vici or something like that?
Yeah.
Dude, those are cool. So they used to hand those out at the Stick, and then then you would get the ones, they call them the Croy, the Candlesticks. But those things right there, man, they're cool. Those pins like that.
So this one's actually a Croy de Eric Burns.
Oh, look at you go, big dog.
Bro, so I'm gonna wear it as a badge of honor. And I will say this: my popularity amongst the Giants diehards has gone through the roof because of this video podcast that we do every single week, man.
It's funny. I mean, here we are, you played for the A's, and you got a Giants shirt on, and then every now and then I'll come on with an A's Eric Burns shirt, and we have fun with it, man. That's what this whole platform is about. We tell stupid stories, we break the games down, we come at it from a professional side of things, but then we also know the amateur side of things. And then on top of that, we laugh and giggle, cut up, drop F-bombs. So I mean, what is there not to like? Oh, and by the way, we drink when we're on the show too. So that adds to our colorfulness.
Hey, man, we're just trying to keep shit real. That's it. It's pretty fucking simple if you ask me. Dude, so the Giants, on that note, tomorrow, I believe, or unless it's Wednesday, if they have the day off tomorrow, much needed. No, it's tomorrow. 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be the A's at the Giants.
Yeah. They got the Battle of the Bay for believe it or not, just 2 days. So they got the A's coming in for 2 days. Thursday is an off day, and then that's when I'm going to come out there. Friday, like I said, is against the Red Sox. It's Autism night. Saturday is, believe it or not, I'm going to be up in one of the suites with Barry Bonds. Even though it's not his birthday that day, they're celebrating Barry's birthday. So I'm going to be up there with that. And then after the Red Sox, we got the Diamondbacks coming in for 4. So I mean, this is a pretty important homestand as far as the Giants and, what's going on in the West and all that, because they have to get this season turned around. I mean, we're at the end of July now. We're getting into the dog days of August, and excuse me, but the dog days of August, man, they make or break people, and the Giants got to get it right.
When you think about the Bay Bridge series, because you guys used to not play them during the regular season, you would play them before the season started, and then obviously you played them in the 1989 World Series, which was the Earthquake World Series. What's your number one memory and takeaway from that 89 series?
Well, I'll tell you what, was the fact that, we played the A's, I don't know, 8 or 9 times in spring training. I mean, we had the 3-game Bay Bridge series there at the end, but we played them a lot during spring training. And so by the time we had gotten to, the series in 89, we knew them just as much as they knew us, because we had already played them 8 times. We played them damn near as much as, we played one of our teams in our division. So there was really no surprise. The big thing, needless to say, the earthquake happened. But then, I'm kind of, when it comes to baseball, we've talked about this. I look myself in the mirror, and I'm totally truthful and honest. And, the A's, even though we were in the World Series with them, they just had a better ball club. I mean, they were in there in 88 against the Dodgers. Dodgers won because their pitching absolutely dominated. And then, the next year in 89, Oakland's offense stepped up. So, it was one of those things.
Yeah, man. I mean, you look back at those A's teams, and with McGuire, Canseco, Carney Lansford, Dave Henderson.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
Yeah.
they had Ricky coming in and out. Like they were just fucking good, man.
Yeah, they were real good. They were real good. And they could put up a crooked number in a hurry. And that was, kind of their forte, besides having great pitching. They had Dave Stewart, Mike Moore, they had Eckersley, at the back end of things. They had Rick Honeycutt setting him up. So, I mean, they were a well-rounded ball club. But it's kind of funny that you even brought it up. The last 2 times that I have been to San Francisco, I have seen, believe it or not, in the elevator, I get on the elevator with him, is Dave Stewart. He's staying in our hotel. He's doing, games over there in Oakland and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun, seeing Stu and reminiscing. And, the one thing that I got to say about it, is just as far as competitors go, I absolutely loved facing Dave Stewart because you knew that when you stepped in the batter's box, you had your work cut out for you because that guy on the mound was bringing the A game all the time. And I got to tip my cap to Dave Stewart for being such a great competitor and ball player.
He had that stare, dude, that he literally looked like he was looking into your fucking soul.
Oh, yeah, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And, that's the great part. That's the great part about, being on the rubber or being in the batter's box. You want those challenges. And we talked about it before. That's like guys, hitting with runners in scoring position. If you don't want to be there, you're going to suck.
Yeah.
If you want to be there, you're going to do a good job at it. If you're Dave Stewart and you want to be on the mound and you want to be that man, you're going to dominate. And there you go.
What about, speaking of faces, they used to call it the Nuschler.
Yeah, bud. Pull a sleeve up. Get a little something going.
What about this show? What are we doing here?
Hey, I was just concentrating, man. Don't. It wasn't I'm gumming my lips or nothing.
Give it to me, though. Let me see what it looked like.
Oh, shit. I'd have to freaking do the eye black, get locked in. Bring it on, Jack.
What'd you do with your face? So there's something you did with your face.
I don't know.
You know what it said?
I mean, I was just concentrating. I was just locked in.
Bro, there was like some fuck you in that face.
Oh, a little? There was a lot in there. And especially if I was locked in up at the plate and going good, it was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, so what about the break between the earthquake and when you guys resumed? I think it was 8 days. The A's went down to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
You guys apparently stayed in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
A lot, the outside critics will say, hey, look, the Giants lost because, now don't get me wrong. You guys were already down 2-0 at the point, right?
Right.
But
right.
We're gonna point to, hey, it didn't help that you guys were in the Bay Area dealing with, what everyone else was dealing with the Bay Area, which was, tragedy, really. When the A's kind of went and escaped it and then came back and were playing again.
That was kind of their, preference, I guess. We stayed in the city. We helped out around the city as much as we could. I know myself, Matt Williams, I know for a fact, we went and served meals to, the responders and stuff. And, I just thought it was the right thing to do. And it was our duty to do that, because you're only ball players for so long. And then the rest of the time, you're a member of society just like anybody else. And I thought that was real important. Hey, look, they went down there, they played their games. That's what they wanted to do, but it was just the fact that even when they came back, they just jumped on top of us and we played catch up the whole time. We just couldn't do it. But, hey, look, I told you, I look myself in the mirror. I know when I screwed up and I say, hey, you screwed up. And then I also know when I got my ass kicked. All right. Those guys were really good and they beat us. That's the way it was.
So last question on this, and we'll move on. But I'm going to get close right here because this is obviously a
I love that. I love that.
Dude, this is a hat I wore to your retirement ceremony. It's one of my very favorite hats, obviously. Just Candlestick Park paying homage to
it's wonderful.
The old ballpark.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So, dude, I don't know if you ever saw the documentary about the earthquake. And, basically they were saying that, I don't know, let's call it like a couple years earlier, they had just retrofitted the top of Candlestick where it comes over. And they were saying that if they didn't put whatever like brackets or on whatever, that there was a good chance that top caves in. And then once that goes, basically the entire stadium is just going to crumble to the ground.
Yeah. It's almost like, believe it or not, it's almost like imploding a stadium. You go from the top, caving it in to the bottom, and that's kind of what you're talking about doing.
So just think about how it's so lucky, grateful, blessed that I think we all were, knowing that, it's funny because I wasn't at that game. I went to game 4, but I was sitting, like I sat right under the overhang. When I was in section 62, under the overhang, second row from the top, when you hit your base hit up the middle against Mitch Williams.
Right.
I literally have this fucking picture in my mind of you hitting it, and I could see the ball coming off the bat and the runs coming and like going around. Like it was amazing. And here I was like, and I've also gone back and thought about it because if whoever was there during the earthquake game, had they not fixed that, this shit's crumbling, man.
Yeah.
And you think like we had lost like that. I mean, it would have been devastating.
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable. But I did not, believe it or not, I did not watch the documentary. We talk about it enough. I lived it. And, we talked about, one of the police officers there, he was there and then all of a sudden his name was Isaiah, and he had to leave, and he had to go to somewhere else in the city. And when he left, there was a boulder or something that fell on top. He was a motorcycle cop. There was a boulder fell on top of him. He died. And so, just these stories like this, it just, like I said, I lived it. I don't need to live it again. I was there. It's part of Giants history. It's part of Giants lore. And, now like we're talking about, they got the A's coming up with the Bay Bridge, and it's part of their lore too, as well, because they won the World Series that year.
Why would they have these games in the middle of the week? It's the one chance.
The way it was, they played on weekends. They played 2 games on weekends. Then you had an off day. You played 3 in a row, another off day, and then you went back to the original city. That was a 7-game set. And, now they're doing all kinds of different shit with the schedule, making it all crazy, but that's the way it used to be. Oh, and speaking of schedule.
So the first games, I guess, are both games in San Francisco?
Yeah, both games in San Francisco. So that's what I was going to tell you. We were talking about the schedule, and the Giants getting back on the stick and all that. And I said, you know what? I don't even know what's coming up in August. And so, like I told you, you got Boston, and then at the end you got Arizona. Well, then your next road trip, you got the A's and the Angels. And then after that, believe it or not, you got the Rangers and Devil Rays coming in. Then you go on the road to the Braves and Phillies, and then you got the Braves and Reds back at home plate, back at San Francisco. So that's one of the reasons why I told you that this team needs to get back on the stick, is because August, like we talked about, are dog days, and it is not getting any easier when you got first and second place clubs that you're playing throughout the whole month of August.
Well, you know what's funny, dude? This was a week ago, and you and I, it was less than a week ago, and you and I were on Deuces Wild, and the Giants were playing Cincinnati. And at the time, Cincinnati had lost 7 in a row, and the Giants had won 7 in a row. And we're here less than a week later, and the Giants have lost 6 in a row, and Cincinnati's won 5 in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm telling you. I mean, it's amazing. It's really amazing what happens over the course of 162 games, the highs and lows that you got to go through. And so that was how, we looked at a long season was every time we went into a city, all we wanted to do is win the series. That's it. So all I need to do is win 2 out of 3. If you win 2 out of 3 over the course of a season, you're in the playoffs. And, now, I mean, you might win the division, you might be in the wild card, whatever it is, but you go into the postseason if you win the series and not get swept, stuff like that. And, that's what a 162 games does for you.
Bob Melvin was my manager in Arizona, and he used to always talk about winning the series. He did not focus on, hey, we need to sweep or anything else. He's like, guys, let's win the series. Let's win the games we should win. And if we could steal one of the other ones, then fucking so be it, even better. And so, for example, like we'd have Brandon Webb on the mound. Those were our must-win games. Those were the games we used to always joke that whenever you want to have a team meeting, if you're the manager, you do it before Brandon Webb takes them out. Because it's the feel good, go out there, manager gives the speech, and you guys win. And then there was, the back end of the rotation guys where if you have a 4 or 5 going up against a 1 or 2 of them, like that's going to be a tough one. And you're playing with the house's money. Yeah,
no, you're right. And, hey, I mean, Bob Melvin was a former teammate. So where you think he's heard that from? I mean, that's what we preached, and Bo Mel was one of our veterans back then. I mean, he was a younger player, but he had a few years in the big leagues, when I got there. And, he was our backup catcher to Bob Brenly. And, that's how you learn these kind of things. And so, here's a manager in the big leagues that's had a lot of success. And look what he's preaching. Bruce Bochy preached the same thing. Dusty Baker preached the same thing. Look what these guys are doing now. So
I got a buddy of mine who's back east right now. And he just recently went to Wrigley Field. He went to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. He is going to Philadelphia tonight. And then I believe he's going to D.C. Then he's going to Baltimore. Then he's going to New York. So he's hitting up all these different stadiums. And it just got me thinking, I almost want to do, I'm going to do it. And we're going to do it on No Filter. We're going to do a stadium bracket. And almost like this stadium versus this stadium versus this stadium, this stadium. And kind of have it come down to, what is the top 2 stadiums? And then we can crown the winner. Now, I'll be very open, upfront, honest, and say that I have an affinity for the older ballparks. So Wrigley Field and Fenway Park are living on a fucking island of their own. But I don't, for example, like for New Yankee Stadium. I like New Yankee Stadium. I'm not as against it as a lot of other people say. But it doesn't have that same feel or whatever else. And so it just got me thinking, for you, was there a place that, you really enjoyed? Is there a sneaky stadium that you like playing in or a city that you like playing in that, maybe didn't get the love? Or is it
that's a freaking great question because I'm a lot like you. I loved the history of the game. And so I love going up, to Boston and saying, I'm standing right where Ted Williams was standing, or you go to Yankee Stadium and, hey, this is where Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth were, or go to Detroit and this is where Al Kaline was. I mean? Stuff like that, And one of the funny things, and it's kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of weird. You and I touched on it a little bit ago, but somebody actually brought it up to me in a stat form, and I didn't know this. But I am the career not even active because I'm not active anymore, but I am the career leader in batting average for an opponent at Fenway. Although it's the one ballpark that I have played in my big league career where I did not hit a homer. I hit a homer there when I was on the Olympic team, but not as a professional. But I'm like I don't know. I'm like, somebody sent me that the other day, and I was kind of blown away. I was like, really, Fenway? I was like, and you're talking about, they had Pedro and Clemens and Schiraldi. I mean, they had a lot of those guys there, and I'm like, really? I'm like the career leader in batting average there, and they're like, yeah, it's like it was 430 or 435 or something like that at Fenway.
Well, thrilled that I can say that I've done something that you did not do because I hit a fucking nuke off of Kurt Schilling there, man. Gosh damn,
that ball was Bravo, baby.
I got Schilling on a high fastball. He kept coming at me. I got 3-2 count, and he wasn't going to give in. And it was just like, dude, he started here, and I was boom, foul ball, boom, foul ball, boom, foul ball. Pretty soon I was like this. Ah! Woo!
That's funny. That's funny.
I busted Keith Folk's ass there too, as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
not too many.
Tried to slip the fastball by.
Yeah, I tell you what, he had pretty good stuff. Folk did, but
the changeup.
If you waited him out, he'd always leave you one of them changeups right there.
That's it. So, all right, let's. Prince Henry, who does a fantastic job with our social, wanted us to go over World Series odds. And, I'm a degenerate.
All right, let's do this. All right. World Series odds. I mean, from day one, the Braves have been playing really good. So I think that if you had to look at it from an outsider looking in, and I'm prejudiced because I want the Giants to be there, but if you're from an outsider looking in, I'd have to say, just because of their consistency, I'd have to pull the Braves. And if I flip it over and I go around to the other side, the team that's been playing probably the best for the last few years has been the Rays. And so, for me personally, that's how I'm looking, just because of kind of the track record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so Thrill, the Braves currently right now are plus 340, meaning you would win $340. You put down 100, and the Rays, there's some pretty good value here at plus 650. Although they've been faltering as of late, and now the Baltimore Orioles, our former team, is in first place in the.
Yeah, how about that? How about that? Yeah.
That's fucking wild, man. The Dodgers are in second here at plus 475. And then it goes to the Astros at plus 800. The Rangers are plus 1,100. So this is when I call these the big-time value picks. The Orioles are plus 1,600. That means 16-1 odds. That's the team that I would be willing to take a chance on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really, following the Orioles and if you believe in what they're selling, that wouldn't be a bad $100 bet right now,
No, and they had Mike Elias, their general manager, on MLB Network today. And he was saying that they've been stockpiling these young studs, first-round picks, one after another, and they're all making their way to the big leagues. But one of the things he said was that, hey, look, we have a really deep farm system. So if we have to make a move before the trade deadline to improve our team, we will make that move. So it just got me thinking, holy shit, man.
Wow,
what if they made a fucking move for Ohtani?
Wow. Hey, I tell you what, man, that's pretty awesome that, if you are a player in that clubhouse, and your general manager comes out and says that, you'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to play for that guy. He wants to win. You bet your ass I want to go out there. And, hey, I think that's freaking awesome right there, Another thing, too. Oh, we overlooked old Mr. Bruce Bochy doing his thing down there in Texas. Besides Dusty Baker, they're going. Those two guys are going head to head right now. So I mean, it's pretty interesting as far as if you try to project out the World Series. It's pretty interesting because as you well know, once you get into the postseason, it's whoever gets hot, baby. It's whoever gets hot. Whose pitching staff gets hot. Whoever pitching staff gets hot, that's where your money ought to ride.
So the Giants are plus 3,000. I mean, that's 30-1 odds. Man.
Hey, look.
Odds. I think that's a good bet too.
Yeah. I mean, drop a hundy on that and win $3,000. But we just talked about it. They're streaky, or they have been streaky this year. If they get on one of them rolls, man, and make it into the playoffs and stay on one of them rolls, they can be just as dynamite as anybody else.
Hey, the other one that I really like, that I think there's tremendous value here, and this is a team that's been struggling, but it's also a team that just brought back Andy Pettit, that just hired Sean Casey from No Filter Network.
My man, the mayor.
Hitting coach now for the New York Yankees, dude. The Yankees are plus 2,500? They're the fucking Yankees.
Yeah, but they also, they hadn't been playing great lately. So maybe that's what rose that, on up there.
And then the Diamondbacks are plus 3,500. Like, I just can't believe this shit. The Diamondbacks are going to make the fucking playoffs. I think the Giants make the playoffs. I think the Yankees make the playoffs. And then you got, Brewers, Twins. I mean, who the fuck put the Twins at plus 2,000, man? The Twins ain't winning the fucking World Series. Like, the fact that they have shorter odds than the Yankees and the Giants is bullshit. The Blue Jays are there. They're interesting. I think they could win it. I think the Orioles could win it. I think the Rangers could win it. I think the Astros could win it. I think the Rays could win it. The Dodgers could win it. The Braves could win it. I do not see the fucking Brewers. I do not see the Brewers or the fucking Twins winning it. I just don't.
No, I don't see the Central winning it. I see either the East or West from both leagues.
Here's another good bet. And the only issue is their pitching staff. But if they get Hunter Green back and they get Nick Lodolo back, the Cincinnati Reds at plus 7,000. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Hey, I'm not a big, huge, bettor, but if you are a bettor and you got a few dollars, it wouldn't be a bad thing to chunk a hundy here and a hundy there. You might get some pretty good return on your bungeros there.
Yeah, I'm going to be heading to Reno here shortly to go ahead and lay my action, because although you are not a bettor, Thrill, I am very much.
Yeah, no, I know. Hey, you know what? You were talking about, the O's and, doing their, their deal with all of the first round picks and, stocking up the organization, and et cetera, et cetera. It's the same thing that Houston did. I mean, look back at Houston's, how did they get, into the series? How did they get, they kept drafting number one damn near every year for 2 or 3 years. And then they had the number 2 pick a few times. And, you saw, who was it? Mark Pryor, was the number 1 overall. And then, you had Correa one year, and then you had Altuve. And so, I mean, that's how the old Astros got there. And so, the O's are following the same kind of system.
I got a fascinating story for you. So, Olivia Pichardo is her name. Last fall, the 19-year-old became the first woman to ever make a Division I baseball roster when she joined the team at Brown University. A few months later in March, she became the first woman to play for a Division I team. And this summer, while playing in the Hamptons Collegiate Baseball League, a wood bat circuit that featured future MLB All-Stars like Corbin Burns and Josiah Gray, she's produced another first in the best way possible. During Game 2 of a doubleheader in West Hampton over the weekend, Pichardo cranked a dinger to deep right field, the first by a female in HCBL history. How about that?
Go ahead on. Way to rake it there, girl. Rake it. Make them pay for throwing. Make them pay for throwing that shit over the plate. What?
How about the poor fucker that gave it up?
Oh, hey, he's buying drinks all night long because we're freaking going out on his dime. I can't believe you gave up. I can't believe you gave up a dinger to a girl. You're buying, Jack.
Dude, he's not going to be able to live this one down. I got a buddy of mine who gave up a homer to a girl from the Silver Bullets, which used to be the professional women's baseball team. They used to travel around everywhere. They're good. And he gave up a homer to her. It was the first over-the-fence homer for the Silver Bullets. And it was at Orleans, 300 feet right down the left field line. And they were playing a Cape Cod All-Star team as an exhibition. And literally, like the rest of his college career, he'd go into Florida State, he'd go into LSU, he'd go into any of these other colleges. And in the outfield, you would hear Silver Bullets, da, 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 Silver Bullets.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Hey, you know what? Let me click on this right here. It says Giants draft signing tracker. So all signings. Number 1 pick signed. Number 2 pick signed. 2C signed. 3 signed. 5 signed. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All of those guys signed so far out the draft with the Giants.
So everybody
with the exception of the number 4 pick and number 11 pick. That's it. Number 4 and number 11 are the only ones that didn't sign. Everybody else signed in Giants draft.
Huh. That's pretty good. I think now with the slot and everything that it makes it easier because guys know what they're going to get.
Yeah, yeah. But here's another thing too, okay? You and I just talked about it, and you're starting to see it, all right? You know, all of these kids signed. We get, you know, basically that's 18 kids from the draft that have signed. That means 18 gotta go. And so, like, what was it, yesterday or today?
Yeah.
The Giants, let's see. They activated, I think, Luke Jackson. Yeah, Luke Jackson in a DFA'd Mauricio Rivera. So, you know, it's starting to trickle down already. You're going to start seeing some people getting released and all that. Crawford's got his knees giving him problems again, but he's supposed to return here pretty soon. So the Giants, like I said, you know, they got a few things going on, but they got to get it together. They got to get it together pretty soon because they're getting ready to get into the meat of the schedule in the middle of the dog days of August. So they need to step it up.
One of the teams they'll be playing, as I just opened the chat, Battleborn Mike mentions him, the Cincinnati Reds. He says they're too young to win a World Series this year. I think he might be right, but at plus 7,000, I might take a fucking chance on him.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, look, you know, what is it? You know, you're gonna win down the road on something else, so you might as well throw some guesses in there. Another 2 is we got a new guy on the chat. Well, actually, he's been in here before. It's Carter Ayers. Carter's from Houston, and he was commenting on some of the Houston stuff we were talking about earlier too. So we had another guy early on, Willis. Willis was on the chat, and let me see who else. Danny Gomez. So we got some new dudes wandering around on the old chat room here, Jack.
Love it. Hey, so I'm gonna finish this first question. This is what I'm gonna do. if there's one ballpark you could go back and play in, one ballpark. You have one game to play, one ballpark. What would it be?
Oh shit! I gotta give it to the stick, baby. You wearing the hat? It was my home field. I fucking loved hitting there. I love the cold. You know, I love people coming in there being miserable, and I'm out there just doing my thing every day. And it's no longer with us anymore. I miss it. I miss seeing it. You know, when I drive in from the airport, but it was probably the best background ever to hit in Major League Baseball. It was so big and it was jet black, and that white ball would come out of there, and it was like, boom, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, being a diehard Giants fan growing up in the Bay Area, going to the stick all the time, I would have that at the top of my list too. But for the sake of the program.
Okay. Sake of the program. All right. If you want me to go one other place, I loved San Diego, old freaking Jack Murphy Stadium, Tony Gwynn and I, you know. San Diego didn't have the greatest of pitching staffs. You can go in there and get a bunch of knocks. And then I loved it. I loved playing down there in San Diego.
All right. So I'm going to pick the fucking Houston Astrodome.
Oh, my God. How can you pick the dome?
Dude, I don't even know what you want to call it, like a 3D image of the dome right here. I'm just fascinated with it because of the Bad News Bears breaking training movie and the whole let them play scene, which now revolves around our travel ball organization and basically was named after it. And my image of you hitting your first home run there, I like, dude, so many like cool memories. I remember Mike Scott's no-hitter against you guys.
Yeah.
When you made the last out, you rolled over the ball. Like, there's just some cool shit where when I grew up, I saw that it was supposed to be the, you know, what they call it, the eighth wonder of the world. And it's a fucking Astrodome, man. And it's
I'll tell you what, you know,
it's basically demolished inside.
I might have told this story. I don't know if I did or not, but the clubhouse in Houston was up top. I mean, it was on a different level, and you'd have to go down a bunch of steps, and then you had to walk across a wooden walkway, and you would go under the bleachers, under the first, well, actually third base. You'd go under the third base stands, and then you'd pop out in the dugout, right? Well, as soon as you got to the bottom of those steps and you started walking across that wooden walkway, dude, they had rats. I mean, they were 20-pound rats if they were one. And if I could tell you how many times I went down there with like a BB gun or a pellet gun and was plinking the freaking rats down there, if I could tell you, it was hysterical. I had a ball doing it. My teammates thought I was insane, but everybody was like, I'm glad you're doing it, Drew, because since you've been doing it, them rats don't run across us when we walk down there. I'm like, no problem.
So you would go hunt the rats.
Oh yeah, I'd have my dad, you know, because they came in, you know, Houston's only 4 hours from New Orleans, so my dad, mom and dad would come out and say, hey, bring me a freaking pellet gun or bring me something, and they'd bring it, and I'd go sit down there and I'd shoot 10 or 15 a day. It was hysterical.
Then what'd you do with it? Did you clean them up, or you just?
Oh no, I just left them down there. You should have seen what was under those freaking stands. It was not pretty. Same thing under the stands in Montreal. Oh my God, that was another one. Ugh, bad.
All right, so we have 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left, actually. I got a heart out going to a neighbor's house for a BBQ.
Yeah, you got a little barbecue action. What's you got, brisket?
I don't know what they're going to have. It's like a little housewarming thing, so we're going to swing by and probably bring them a...
go ahead on. Give me some tops.
1987 tops. Here's the bubble gum. Battleborn Mike, go fuck yourself. I'm not eating it.
There you go.
Nah. I mean, it's never mind.
Don't eat it. It's terrible. It's chalk. Stop eating it. Stop eating it. I know it's chalk. Stop eating it.
Oh, it's exactly what it is. Okay, so let's rip through some of these, man, and just see if we get through the pack, or at least half the pack in the next 8 minutes.
All right.
First one right here, Mookie Wilson.
Oh, God. The man, the myth, the legend. Mr. The old beat the Red Sox ball through the middle of the wickets.
Through the legs.
You know? So Mookie actually was a real good ball player, could run real well. And, one of the key pieces to those some of those good Mets teams.
Check out this stat, though. In 1983, he had 638 at-bats, which led the National League. He had a grand total of 18 fucking walks.
Oh. They pretty much he either swung at a lot of stuff or they came right at him.
I can't believe that, man. I mean, those are like historic numbers. All right. The next guy right here is a coach of mine in Colorado. Guy I'm sure you're familiar with, Jamie Quirk.
Yeah, Jamie Quirk. Catcher, also played a little first base, and a good dude. I really liked Jamie a lot. He was really a good dude. He was fun to talk to at first base, and that's one of those guys that when you're on the other side, you really appreciate guys like that.
Now here's a guy that was a pitching coach in the Oakland A's system. I think he may have even got to the big leagues at some point as a coach for the A's. Not sure what he's doing now. Ron Romanek.
Oh yeah. I remember Ron. Not only being a real quality pitcher, but then, like you said, he got into coaching, and I lost track of where he is. But where is he now? Do you know?
But I know like the guys really liked working with him. He was a real good pitching coach. Here's a guy that I do not know, but maybe you do. Bill Wegman.
Yeah, Bill Wegman was another pitcher with the Brewers. Tall, skinny guy, sinker baller, and he pitched in the big leagues a while.
Okay, this guy, man, myth, legend. He's actually somebody that you and I haven't talked about much, considering his Hall of Fame stature and the fact that this is one of the baddest motherfuckers to ever play this game. Kirby Puckett.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. That man right there could hit a baseball. And he was Pablo Sandoval before Pablo came along. He was the best bad ball hitter in the world. Somebody asked me how to get Kirby Puckett out. I said, throw it right down the middle. I said, if you try to fool him and throw it 3 inches off the plate or throw it up by his eyes, I said, you're just looking for something to get whack attacked. And, not only that, he was a great human being. He was gone way too early in this life. And he was a good friend.
To just think like him and Tony Gwynn, right? I mean, these are like your contemporaries that.
Yeah. Yep. You're not kidding.
All right. Don Carmen.
Oh, wow. Left-handed pitcher with the Philadelphia Phillies, would be a starter and also a reliever. He got used both ways. Nothing overpowering, but was a pro. Would come right at you, and you had to work to get a knock or two off of him.
Interesting. Here's a guy that I just love these uniforms. They need to bring him back. Guy I'm sure you're familiar with, Tim Wallach.
Tim Wallach. Oh, Eli. So third baseman for the Montreal Expos. All of those years where they played in that godforsaken stadium, and he put up some freaking awesome numbers. And then he complimented Andre Dawson when they had Andre over there, and then Big Cat and all of those guys. So Eli complimented those guys.
How about Jeff Sellers?
Jeff Sellers, right-handed pitcher from the Red Sox. I don't know much about him. I remember watching him on TV once or twice, but never faced him, and I don't think he had a long career.
How about this guy? He definitely had a long career. Holy shit. Steve Carlton.
Oh, my goodness. He's actually, believe it or not, a teammate. At the end of his career, he had some bad financial decisions. He actually wound up coming over to the Giants and playing for a half a year and tried to make some money. So one of the all-time greats from the left side, Hall of Famer. I think up until Randy Johnson passed him, he was the left-handed strikeout leader. Luker, am I true on that, or am I making that up? You can let us know. But one of the most awesome freaking sliders you have ever seen.
Here's a guy that I'm sure you're very familiar with. Don Robinson.
Caveman! Oh, my God. Not only did I face him, but then he became my teammate, and he is absolutely one of the funniest guys around. He's from West Virginia. He's 6'5", big burly guy, and got a big old country accent, and lives in Florida. He's kind of like you. He's a degenerate gambler, gambles on anything, and he used to run what we called the Caveman Quiz every Sunday, and in the San Francisco Chronicle. They used to have this quiz, and he used to break the quiz out, and we'd have everybody sitting in the clubhouse, and Donnie was reading the questions, and that was our Caveman Quiz.
Oh, I absolutely love it, dude. All right, we'll end on that. Autism Awareness Night on Friday. Tomorrow, I will be with the Savannah Bananas in San Jose. I'll be with them again on Thursday in Fresno. There's a chance I get out to that game on Friday, Thrill, to support you guys. So I'll hit you up if I make it out there. And then Saturday is actually, I know you're going to be in the suite with Barry Bonds, but we have the Savannah Bananas in Sacramento on Saturday.
Yeah, I know. You were trying to get me to go to that, but, the family's in town, and then we got Barry's deal. But one of these days I'll make the Savannah Bananas. I'm not going to be freaking running around on the field. I already told you that. Quit telling me that I'm going to be doing this and doing that, you crazy man. Have fun with the Bananas. Enjoy yourself. And we're going to be out next week because I will be in San Fran, but the following week we will be Deuces Wild live. You can give us the blow-by-blow of the Bananas, and I'll be giving you the blow-by-blow of a big, long homestand with the Giants.
All right, man. We'll have safe travels out here, and let's touch base at the end of the week, and hopefully get out there for that Autism Awareness Night.
Sounds great, and thanks for wearing the autism shirt, supporting the cause. Hey, all you guys in the chat room, if y'all get a chance, please make it out to the yard. We'd love to have you out there. Eric was talking about some of the fun stuff that they're doing, the signed mini bats and all that. It's all cool stuff. You get a shirt, if you get in the yard and all that. But have fun. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will
see ya!